Life today moves at an overwhelming pace. People are constantly juggling work, responsibilities, social obligations, and personal goals. Yet many still feel unfulfilled, exhausted, and out of balance. In a world where distractions are endless and stress is common, finding true balance in life seems like an impossible task. But what if the key to a balanced life isn't about doing more, but about choosing wisely? Welcome to TT-Buddhism, where we explore the wisdom of Buddhism to help you cultivate inner peace, mindfulness, and fulfillment. In this video, we will discuss how to live a balanced life based on Buddhist teachings and how setting the right priorities can transform the way you experience life. Many people believe that balance means splitting time equally between different aspects of life: work, family, relaxation, and spirituality. However, Buddhism teaches that balance is not about dividing time into perfect portions, but rather about understanding what truly matters and giving it the right amount of attention. Think about this. No matter how busy your day is, you always find time to eat, shower, or check your phone. Why? Because these activities are your priorities. So why is it so difficult to make time for meditation, mindfulness, or spiritual growth? The answer lies in what we value. In this video, we will explore the concept of balance in Buddhism, share inspiring stories that illustrate its importance, and provide practical steps to help you cultivate a more harmonious life. By the end, you will understand that living a balanced life is not about adding more to your schedule. It's about making conscious choices that bring you peace, purpose, and true happiness. Understanding balance in Buddhism. In Buddhism, balance is not about rigidly dividing time or energy between different aspects of life. Instead, it is about finding harmony by prioritizing what truly matters. The Buddha taught the middle way, a path that avoids extremes, neither indulging in excessive pleasure nor engaging in extreme austerity. This principle serves as a guide for achieving balance in daily life. True balance does not come from trying to do everything. It comes from recognizing what is essential and giving it the right amount of attention. Many people struggle with feeling overwhelmed because they try to fit too much into their lives. Work, social obligations, and personal ambitions take up most of their time, leaving little room for inner peace. They believe that achieving balance means doing more, scheduling activities to the point where every minute of the day is occupied. But Buddhism teaches that balance is not about adding more to life. It is about letting go of unnecessary distractions and focusing on what nurtures the mind and soul. When we constantly chase after external achievements, we may lose sight of what brings genuine happiness. A major reason people feel unbalanced is that they prioritize the wrong things. Consider how easily we make time for eating, checking our phones, or watching television, yet we struggle to find even 10 minutes for meditation or self-reflection. This is not because we lack time, but because we do not see mindfulness and spiritual practice as essential. However, just as our bodies need nourishment, our minds need care and attention. Ignoring this aspect leads to stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Buddhism teaches that balance is about awareness and conscious choices. When we become mindful of how we spend our time and energy, we begin to see what truly enriches our lives and what simply drains us. Practicing mindfulness allows us to recognize when we are caught up in unnecessary busyness and helps us shift our focus toward what matters. It is about creating a life of purpose rather than a life of endless distraction. Finding balance also involves detachment from external expectations. Society often pressures us to constantly achieve more, earn more money, gain recognition, and seek validation from others. This endless pursuit can leave us feeling exhausted and disconnected from ourselves. In contrast, Buddhism encourages us to cultivate inner contentment rather than rely on external circumstances for happiness. A balanced life is one where we align our actions with our values, ensuring that we do not sacrifice our well-being for temporary gains. Ultimately, balance is about living with intention. It is about making time for what brings peace and fulfillment, whether it is meditation, self-reflection, meaningful conversations, or simply being present in the moment. When we consciously prioritize these aspects, we naturally create a life that is more harmonious and fulfilling. In the next section, we will explore a powerful story that illustrates how prioritizing wisely can transform the way we experience life. The story of the monk and the wealthy merchant. To truly understand the importance of prioritizing wisely, let's explore a story about a wealthy merchant who was constantly overwhelmed by his responsibilities. He had everything: wealth, power, and influence. But despite his success, he always felt restless, exhausted, and dissatisfied. One day, desperate for a solution, he traveled to a monastery to seek advice from a wise Buddhist monk. When he arrived, the merchant bowed respectfully and asked, "Master, I have everything I could ever want, yet I feel empty and unbalanced. No matter how much I achieve, I always feel that something is missing. How can I find peace?" The monk smiled and responded with a question. "Tell me, no matter how busy your day is, do you find time to eat?" The merchant was surprised, but answered, "Of course, master, I always make time for my meals." The monk nodded and continued, "Do you also find time to clean yourself, to bathe, brush your teeth, and change your clothes?" The merchant laughed and replied, "Yes, of course. No matter how busy I am, I always do these things." The monk then asked, "And do you check your messages or spend time on things like entertainment or business meetings?" The merchant sighed and admitted, "Yes, I do. Sometimes I feel like I spend too much time on these things." The monk leaned forward and said gently, "So tell me, if you can always make time to eat, to clean yourself, and to handle your business, why can't you find even 10 minutes a day for meditation or self-reflection?" The merchant was silent. The monk continued, "The problem is not time. The problem is priority. You believe your meals, your hygiene, and your work are important, so you make time for them. But you do not see inner peace as essential. That is why you do not make time for it." The merchant felt a deep realization dawning upon him. He had spent his entire life prioritizing external success, yet he had neglected the well-being of his mind. The monk then told him a simple but powerful truth. Just as you nourish your body with food, you must nourish your mind with stillness. Just as you cleanse your body, you must cleanse your thoughts with mindfulness. If you wish to find balance, you must give time to the things that bring you peace. From that day forward, the merchant made a commitment. He dedicated at least 10 minutes every morning to quiet meditation. At first it felt insignificant, but over time he noticed profound changes. His stress decreased, his mind became clearer, and he began to feel true contentment. He realized that balance was not about doing more, but about choosing wisely what to focus on. This story teaches us a valuable lesson. No matter how busy life gets, we always make time for what we value. If we want balance and inner peace, we must prioritize it, just as we do eating, sleeping, or working. In the next section, we will explore practical ways to apply this wisdom, and make mindful living a daily practice. How to prioritize the right things for a balanced life. The story of the monk and the wealthy merchant teaches us that balance is not about having more time. It is about recognizing what truly matters and making it a priority. If we want inner peace, we must actively choose to cultivate it. But how do we do that in a world filled with endless distractions and responsibilities? Many people spend their lives chasing success, wealth, or approval from others, believing these things will bring lasting happiness. However, Buddhism teaches that true contentment comes from within, not from external achievements. It is essential to ask ourselves, what activities make me feel at peace? Am I spending time on things that truly matter, or am I merely reacting to life's endless demands? If today were my last day, would I be satisfied with how I lived? By reflecting on these questions, we can start to shift our focus toward what truly enriches our lives and brings a sense of purpose. Once we understand what is important, the next step is to make our spiritual and mental well-being a daily habit. Just as we prioritize eating, checking social media, or completing our daily tasks, we must also create space for mindfulness, meditation, and self-reflection. Even dedicating just 10 minutes each morning to quiet meditation or deep breathing can make a significant difference. Practicing gratitude by acknowledging a few things we are thankful for before sleeping can also cultivate a sense of peace. Taking time to read spiritual texts, engage in meaningful conversations, or simply sit in silence can help nourish our minds. These small practices may seem insignificant at first, but over time, they have the power to transform our perspective and emotional well-being. However, achieving balance is not just about adding positive habits. It is also about letting go of unnecessary distractions. Many people feel overwhelmed not because they lack time, but because they fill their time with things that do not serve their well-being. Social media, excessive entertainment, and unimportant commitments can drain energy without adding real value. It is important to question whether the activities we engage in are truly meaningful or simply habits of distraction. Do we really need to spend hours scrolling through our phones? Are we saying yes to commitments that do not align with our values? Can we simplify our schedules to create more space for peace and mindfulness? Reducing distractions does not mean eliminating joy or relaxation. It means being intentional about how we use our time so that we do not unconsciously sacrifice our well-being. Buddhism teaches that balance comes from following the middle way, avoiding extremes and finding harmony in all aspects of life. This means not overworking, but also not being complacent, not being overly strict, but also not indulging in excess. It is about knowing when to push forward and when to slow down, when to take action and when to rest. A truly balanced life does not mean giving equal attention to everything, but ensuring that nothing dominates our lives at the expense of our well-being. True peace comes when we stop living on autopilot and start making conscious choices about how we spend our time and energy. When we live with intention, prioritize our spiritual well-being, and simplify our lives, we create space for the peace and fulfillment we seek. In the next section, we will explore another inspiring story that illustrates the importance of knowing when to let go and how it leads to true balance. The story of the farmer and the water jar. Understanding balance in life is not just about prioritizing the right things. It is also about knowing when to let go. Many people struggle with stress, exhaustion, and dissatisfaction because they hold on to unnecessary burdens, believing they must do everything and control every outcome. To illustrate the importance of letting go, Let's explore the story of a farmer and his water jar. There was once a hard-working farmer who carried water from a distant well to his fields every day. He used a large clay jar to transport the water, ensuring his crops received enough nourishment. Over time, however, the jar developed a small crack. At first it was barely noticeable, but as the days passed, the crack grew larger and water began leaking out. The farmer, determined to save every drop, tried sealing the crack with mud, wrapping it with cloth, and even tightening ropes around it, but nothing worked. The water continued to seep out, and he found himself spending more time and energy trying to fix the jar than actually tending to his crops. One day, exhausted and frustrated, the farmer visited a wise monk at a nearby monastery and asked, "Master, I am doing everything I can to stop my jar from leaking, but nothing works. What should I do?" The monk listened patiently and then handed the farmer a new, unbroken jar. "Sometimes," the monk said gently, "the answer is not to keep fixing what is broken, but to let it go and start anew." The farmer hesitated. He had used his old jar for years, and despite its flaws, he felt attached to it. But as he looked at the new jar in his hands, he realized that all his struggles had come from his unwillingness to move on. For so long, he had been clinging to something that no longer served its purpose, wasting his energy on trying to fix what could not be fixed. The moment he accepted the new jar, he felt a sense of relief, as if a heavy weight had been lifted from his shoulders. From that day forward, he focused on what truly mattered, nourishing his crops, without the unnecessary burden of a broken jar. This story carries a profound lesson. Holding on to things that no longer serve us only leads to suffering. Many of us, like the farmer, cling to old habits, toxic relationships, unrealistic expectations, or regrets from the past, thinking that if we just try harder, things will improve. But sometimes, the best thing we can do for our well-being is to let go. True balance is not about carrying everything. It is about knowing what to keep and what to release. Buddhism teaches that clinging creates suffering, while detachment brings peace. Learning to let go, whether of stress, material possessions, or unnecessary worries, allows us to move forward with greater clarity and freedom. When we stop trying to control everything and accept that some things are meant to be released, we create space for new opportunities. In the next section, we will explore how to apply this wisdom in everyday life, making room for mindfulness, joy, and true balance. Conclusion, message, and gratitude. Living a balanced life is not about managing time perfectly or trying to do everything. It is about making conscious choices that nurture our well-being. Through the wisdom of Buddhism, we learn that true balance comes from prioritizing what truly matters, letting go of unnecessary burdens, and following the middle way. When we stop clinging to stress, expectations, and distractions, we create space for peace, mindfulness, and inner fulfillment. Balance is not something we achieve once and keep forever. It is a continuous practice of awareness, adjustment, and intention. As we have explored in this video, prioritizing spiritual well-being, simplifying life, and letting go of what no longer serves us can transform the way we experience life. Just as we nourish our bodies with food, we must nourish our minds with stillness and clarity. Just as we make time for work and responsibilities, we must also make time for mindfulness, gratitude, and self-care. By applying these principles, we can cultivate a life of harmony, purpose. At TT-Buddhism, our mission is to share the timeless wisdom of Buddhism and inspire a life of peace and self-discovery. We hope this video has given you valuable insights and practical guidance on how to create balance in your life. If this message resonates with you, we invite you to join our journey, Like this video, share it with those who may benefit, and subscribe to our channel to continue learning and growing together. Thank you for spending your time with us. May you find balance, peace, and wisdom in your journey. May you be happy, may you be free from suffering, and may you walk the path of mindfulness with clarity and joy.